We'll open this meeting of the Sheffield Selectboard and thank CTSB for broadcasting, as they do a great job for a lot of municipalities in our area. So, starting off, before we get to the agenda, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Diane Farnham, who worked at the transfer station for quite a while. I don't know the exact number of years, but
It was a lot of years.
so
More than two.
more than two. Okay, so we'll have a moment of silence for Diane. Okay, starting with the agenda, approval of meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes for February 7th, 2 sets, February 15th, and February 20th, 3 sets.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Discussion action regarding one-day alcohol permit.
Make a motion that we approve the alcohol one-day permit for Ed Valentine on March 9th, 2024, and everything's in order around it.
Do we have everything we need from him? Or he usually provides it.
He provides the
once it's
certificate.
approved before we give it to.
Pending provision of the certificate.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Discussion possible action regarding treating invasive plants on town properties.
Can we table this for our next meeting, please?
We can. Discussion possible action regarding submission of permits electronically.
So I think this is mine, Rhonda?
It is.
Okay. So, very open to suggestions on the wording, but what we're trying to do is, as we move through our electronic records capture of past records, we need to likewise capture them electronically going forward. And since almost everything that's submitted these days is done on a laptop or computer or something done electronically, and they print the maps out from, CAD systems, etc. What we're requesting is that everything that's literally not a one-page document be also submitted electronically, as well as the paper copies, because we don't want to start having to print paper for people to review. So an electronic copy for the archives and for our filing system, and paper just as is now. The other thing that we're asking people to do is the town's made a decision to keep track of everything that pertains to land by map, block, and lot. And we're asking people to write map, block, and lot on documents. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is to be going through all of these records of 30, 40, back to the 80s, and Salisbury Street, or on the left side of, so otherwise we're going to have to pay to have them scanned. We're going to have to manage it, and if you want to make this the 15th, and whatever, but I think we have to get the submissions in line, and I really don't think there's going to be any problem.
It looks pretty straightforward to me. I think the letter is fine. Anybody got any suggestions? Rhonda?
No, I think it's fine. We get some electronic already, so I think almost everyone is. It's
But
going to be easy.
What I'm trying to do is avoid the person who sends everything electronic, and then we get to print out, depending on the board, 5 copies, 3 copies, whatever copies. That just chews up time, and it chews up paper. And people are used to submitting paper. So now all they have to do is just submit an electronic document. And, I'm going to be talking with Nicole, but that could be on a zip drive for like the Conservation Commission or the Planning Board when it's, a biggie. Or it could even be submitted as a PDF over, you know,
Yeah, I think the only
internet.
challenge you're going to have is getting people trained. You know, but
Sheffield
it's,
people are marvelous, and we'll just do the best we
yeah,
can.
we just have to kick it back and request it, that's all.
Yeah,
Do we want to approve a date that this starts?
what would you suggest?
Well, I think
April 1st.
April 1st gives people a full
Okay.
month.
And maybe what we'll do is we'll post it so that coming April 1st, try to get people where I'll have copies available for Pamela to hand out when people come in.
Signatures?
What?
Are there signatures on these documents? Is that an issue?
We accept electronic signatures on a lot of documents.
So it's just type-
The signature should not be an issue, because a cover letter, they're going to send you, like the Board of Health, if they sign like a permit for a septic, okay? If it's one page, they don't even have to do it, we'll scan it here. If it's like a Title V inspection, or I'm thinking of stuff that the guys send in, they electronically sign it because they file it electronically. I don't think it should be a problem.
Okay, so shall we have a motion to approve the draft?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the draft of the, regarding the policy for filing permits electronically beginning April 1st.
And I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion regarding special town meeting for March 18th, 2024. Well, Rhonda, would you like to start this one off?
Sure, so the selectmen have scheduled a special town meeting for March 18th. It's going to be at 6 PM at the school where we hold all of our town meetings and special town meetings. The one article on it will be for the purchase of a piece of property at the Sheffield Business Park. If you can see over there behind Jill, we have a layout of the property and what we're hoping it will look like if it's approved by voters. There's a building on the property, and we will add to the building and to the grounds to make it fully compliant with what we need for a highway garage, if the voters choose to allow us to purchase that property.
This has come up because the building came up, and despite the fact that voters generously just approved a $225,000 purchase, we were not obviously aware of this building, but it is a 8,100 square foot Morton building, which can be very easily adapted to a fair amount of the highway garage needs. And while this has been, in my view, a very circuitous path, which I never thought would take so long, I really feel, excuse me, very positive about the potential of this building. And when at town meeting, of course, the price will be announced, and I think you will find it to be a very satisfactory investment.
Nadine, you have anything to
I
add?
think between the two of the ladies, they did a wonderful job.
Well, I think we should add that Nadine is going to be doing a presentation at the town meeting, as
Yeah.
well as the design team that we've been using. So there'll be plenty of time for, you know, kind of the presentation from Nadine and also from Weston and Sampson and Q&A. So, it'll be a good meeting, and we'll see what the voters want to do.
Very good. Okay. Any,
What happens to the other property that we bought? Did we buy it or not?
We did buy it.
If you'd like to come up to the podium and,
Sorry about me, 61 East Main Street, just trying to catch up on life.
okay.
Okay, so we've got a great deal there, it looks like, but what about the property that we bought? What happens to that, or did we not?
We bought it, we still own it, and we will own it even if we buy this other property. They're not very far apart, in fact. The property we bought backs up to the industrial park. The parcel and building we're looking at now is in the industrial park. They're not connected, but they're very close. We don't have any specific plans going forward with the parcel we already bought. It's just the purchase price of this building compared to what we could build an 81 square foot.
Right, no, I'm not challenging that, I'm just trying to
Right.
understand what's the,
We didn't know about this parcel until after we had already gone to town meeting and purchased the other 4 acres. This parcel is also 4 acres, so they're about similar in size, they're similar in topography, except for it has a building, it has a septic, a well.
Has a well.
Yeah, everything is there for part of the highway garage, and would definitely be cheaper to buy it than it would be for a municipality, especially to build it. So we are unfortunately got a little bit of a detour or a redirection when we did find out about this piece of property, so.
So Pat, from my vantage point, and the select board has made no decision on what to do with this piece of property. It's a good piece of property. It's in a good spot. It can be sold if the select board decides to do that with town voters' approval. You know, something near and dear to my heart, which will happen one of these millennia. It could be used for other uses such as potentially affordable housing. So this is a good piece of property. You know, it's not we made a good investment, the town made a good investment. This is a better investment.
By millions.
But, you know, I'm sure the town will be looking for, you know, suggestions, and you can always sell property. It does not seem to go down in value in this town.
And they're not making any more of it.
And they're not
so.
making any more.
You're welcome. Any other questions on the highway garage proposed site now?
So, Rhonda, is the warrant going to, I know the warrant is posted downstairs, but is it going to be on the website? I had
Yes.
a gentleman ask me about that today.
Yes, and I'm sorry that it's not there yet, but we'll make sure it gets up there tomorrow.
Kathy?
Kathy Orlando here with the Sheffield Times. It'll also be mailed out to everybody in the special issue of the Sheffield Times. And one of the questions that they had was to be able to explainer say why it's being done at a special town meeting rather than waiting to the regular town meeting. Is that because of...
Because we don't want to lose the sale, the purchase.
Buyers don't wait forever.
Yeah.
For them to even deal with the municipality is a gift on their part to us. They, you know, who sits out waiting for an offer for...
Yeah.
In most property purchases, there's a clause that says time is of the essence.
Yes, yeah.
And that and our regular annual town meeting would get maybe quite lengthy if we had this.
Well, it could never
In
wait.
there.
You know, I would be shocked if the buyer would wait.
Yeah.
Right.
The seller has already been extremely generous, and I want to thank the Sheffield Times for doing a special edition for the March 18th special town meeting. Thank you.
Happy to do it.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on, discussion action regarding cover photo for annual town report. I think this one's going to be tough this year because we have quite a few pictures.
What's your favorite?
I like the mushroom.
Oh, my Lord.
So Nadine, what's your favorite?
You could have said anything else and I wouldn't have been surprised, but that
You
just...
don't like my mushroom?
No, it's adorable.
I thought it was cute.
It's adorable, but what does it say for Sheffield?
Fed manure and kept in the dark.
So Nadine, what's your number one choice?
Well, I really like the sunsets. I think they're absolutely stunning, and I think it gives a nice view of Sheffield. But I'm also in love with all of the critters. Every critter out here.
So you
I
have to-
actually suggested a collage of all the critters.
You have to make a choice.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to go with the sunset.
So
Anyway.
which one?
Well, I like all three of them, so
I like that one over there. That's my second choice.
the brightest orange one?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
That's my
too.
second choice.
Yeah,
I'm going to move this along. So which one do you want?
that's one.
So
Yep.
that's
Yes,
your
that's my second choice.
So this is the cover? No, it's on the back.
The mushroom. Oh, I got to give the chairman something.
Thanks for a different
Yeah.
kind of
No.
We've done eagles in the past. Yeah, we've done eagles in the past.
I'm fine.
I really like this, the monument is nice, but,
So what does this look like? Let me see this front, back. Rhonda, what's your favorite?
I like this one.
yeah,
The duck.
beautiful. The duck is
Okay,
beautiful.
I moved along on the front.
Your turn to move along.
I think if the duck was cropped, but I myself, since nobody has asked, I'm very partial to this musk.
The Highlander.
Oh, he's pretty handsome.
Well, he is. I can go with the bovine. I mean, their bovines are kind of near and dear to my heart.
If you like it, Bob likes it, I'm good with it.
There you go.
So you remember this when you're trying to figure out who the heck.
Put that in the minutes there,
Is
Jill.
this a better one?
Yeah, the bottom one.
No.
No? Is this a better one?
Yeah, we've done that one before.
So I think we got some level of consensus, at
Yeah.
least enough of us in the boat that we can row. We have trouble. Just
Do we need a motion for our pictures?
I motion that we accept the two pictures, the sunset on the front
And I'll-
and the, what is it that we're doing, the musk ox or whatever.
And I'll second that motion.
It's a Highlander, a Scottish Highlander. And any further discussion? Hopefully not. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's the hardest decision we make every year.
I think so.
Maybe we need to rename it to Sheffield.
Yeah, the Sheffield Highlander. Okay.
All right. Discussion, action regarding opioid settlement fund and dedicated stabilization fund. Let you have that one, Rhonda.
So the state had a ruling or legislation that all opioid money had to go into a stabilization fund. And in order to expend out of that stabilization fund, you had to put it on a town meeting warrant and get voter approval each year. So last year at the town meeting, we established the stabilization fund, and we also voted that any money that comes in from any of the settlement funds automatically go into that account. So we got that authorization all set. Now they've changed their mind, and they are allowing opioid funds to go into special revenue funds, which is at the discretion of the Board of Selectmen on how to fund those. So it doesn't require a special town meeting or a town meeting vote. We wouldn't have to wait for a town meeting in order to expend some of the money. Now, we have just about a little under $3,000 in that account now. So to have that in a special stabilization fund and have to wait for a town meeting seems just to be a little far-reaching. So I would like to put on our annual town meeting to do away with the stabilization fund, direct all of the opioid money into the special revenue fund. And then at a further meeting, you should discuss how or if you want to expend any of that money. I also heard from the Rural Recovery today asking what they would need to do to get a donation from some of our, all or some of our opioid funds.
I kind of thought we had made that discussion
You
already.
did, but it was before all of this happened
Okay.
and what goes in and what comes out, and I
So-
don't think you had a specific amount.
Okay.
So Rhonda, would you also be looking for a policy for the select board on how to spend that money, like we do for the Berkshire School Fund?
No, because I think we already know we're only getting, X amount of money. So
It's not very much in total. I think it's 15,000
I was
was
going to say
projected.
14, so
Yeah,
somewhere
now
in
some
that
more people have
vicinity,
gone
so.
into settlements, but it's not a very large amount of
And
money.
I don't know how long it's going to be before we get it all, but there are very specific regulations that have to be followed for expending that money anyway. So it's not like you could go out and buy benches for the park, you know, I mean, there's specific uses that it has to be.
Okay, so I'd make a motion that we accept this recommendation and put this article on the May town meeting.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
This has been a lot of work for not very much money.
Correct.
Good purpose, but not a lot of money.
But it's good, because it means you didn't have a lot of opioid overdoses.
You're right, Pat.
That's
Yes,
the right
yeah.
way to look at it,
Yes.
yes.
I think it was put out by population, you know, and some measure of how much trouble you had, but yeah. I'll think of
Okay.
it that way, Pat.
Discussion action regarding USDA grant application. I'm sure this is yours, Renee.
Yeah, so, you know, I've been waiting for the two chiefs to give me the information I need to write a grant. And I have Chief Munson's, he wants a police cruiser. And before I start on the work, I'd like to have that in by the 20th of May, March, if I can. We're late on this. I'd like to know that you would support this. This is up to $50,000, and we pay, 25% of that if our rating is still the same. But, you know, we've had some success with this grant.
Yep.
So,
Very much so.
Feel free to march forward and get us more money.
okay, I'm going to take that as authorization to apply for the USDA grant for a police cruiser. And I
Okay,
will second that.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Charter cable license renewal update.
Renee, I didn't get a chance to read all of them.
I know, but I just kind of, I wanted to give you this, and this is our renewal cable television license with Charter. It expired a while ago last year, but we've been negotiating pretty strong with them. And when we finished with Charter, then Bill Hewig, who is KP Law's cable contract specialist, took over. And he worked a few things with Charter. But as far as I'm concerned, and Bill is concerned, this is it, okay? Mark Rich has been involved all the way along as our counsel, as has Joel Baird for Great Barrington. I think 3 of the 5 are KP Laws. We do have one thing that we need to sort out, and Bill's working on the language, but it should not impact us on this. We can no longer just, like we did 10 years ago, say, we give all of our money that we get from Charter to CTSB. There has to now be an appropriation, a conscious giving of that money. And Bill is writing that up for both the capital and the 5% ongoing. And we've been doing it for, I think, the 50 cents per household that we get. We do something every year on that, but he's working on that. I expect, hopefully at our next meeting, I'll have the CTSB agreement for you, but I wanted to just give this to you, and I've kind of put in the things for Sheffield, so it's Sheffield-centric. Every exhibit is Sheffield except for the Strand map, which I have to find, but I just wanted you to review it because I'll be asking you to accept it or let me know what changes you want.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
Very good.
I guess that packet wasn't as big as I thought it was.
Electric vehicle charging station update.
Okay, so the last time we spoke, we had 2 bids. We had one that was going to kind of do it, and 2 at the library and 2 out here, and they were going to absorb a certain amount of cost but I was extremely uncomfortable with the language of their contract to get us to the point, okay, of where we would have the full quote. The other company that both Pat and I met with was World, and they came in where it was going to be more than we felt was affordable for each of the two stations. However, I've kept in touch with both of them, and Troy let me know a few weeks ago that they were bringing on another EV station hardware manufacturer. And when you look at the two bids, which are exactly the same, we've gone from $44,000 to a little under $7,250 per site, which I think is terrific. They're not offering to absorb this like $15,000, and this is their latest quote. And Pat, I have one for you, so you can review it. So I just wanted you to have a chance to review it. I'm going to put all of the previous information in my in basket, so if you want to look at any of it from any of them, it'll be there. I just didn't want to actually flood you with paper. I thought I was doing pretty good tonight. So I have to go back and review these. I just got this today as to whether there's any software, et cetera, what's the continuing costs. I didn't have time to do that today, but it's pretty well spelled out. So I'd like to see if maybe we could take this up at our next meeting.
Well, 15,000 is certainly way less than what we were looking at.
Yes, yes. The cost of the electric, is that absorbed by the owner of the vehicle when they're charging, or is
We can
that?
set it that way, and we can set the cost on the electricity. This should not be an expense other than installing it for the town. And when you look at these, costs that are associated with this, a full project costs, $215,000 per site, and then we get utility incentives, and then we get the state rebate. The state's really pushing this, obviously, and the utilities are too. So we can charge for the user. And these are the fast chargers where you can come in and get a pretty good charge in 20 minutes. They're not the level 1 or 2s, these are level 3s. So if you have any questions, maybe you could let Rhonda or Jill know. I have good communications with both of the vendors, and I know they're anxious for our business, so they'll answer any questions we have for them.
Excellent. So we'll put this on the agenda for our next working meeting.
And I'll have this for you afterwards, Pat. Okay?
Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome.
Okay, board member items. Nadine?
Not a thing.
Renee?
Just want to remind everyone of the election tomorrow, which will be at the senior center, and we think from 7 to 8. Maybe 7 to 7, but we think it's 7 to 8, yeah.
Okay, I have nothing. Rhonda?
So I have two things. The first thing is, because of the special town meeting on the 18th, I'm assuming your meeting will be on the Tuesday, the 19th, your next regularly scheduled meeting?
Sure.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. I just wanted to double check that with you and let everyone know that we wouldn't be meeting here for a meeting on that night.
Okay.
And then we had a resident who came in today to inquire about his wife and family holding a tag sale at the Town Park Pavilion and wanted to know if this would be allowed.
A tag sale at the town pavilion?
No, I'm
I'm not crazy about that
overly
idea.
in favor of that either.
So I'll make a motion just as a policy that we do not allow tag sales at the town park.
I think if you are going to do that, think about making that go like one step further by residents. If there was an organization that came in and wanted to have a fundraiser and
I'm just going to
sell
withdraw it
tables.
totally. I'm going to withdraw it totally.
I think we should
Okay.
handle it as it comes in.
Yeah, and he has to get a tag sale permit from the chief, I think. Who gives the
No, we
tag
do
sale?
the tag sale
You do it?
here.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you should allow this person to do it. I'm saying if it comes in as a fundraiser.
Yeah, I
Say,
got
for
it.
instance,
Yeah.
but- so for this individual, the answer would be no.
No.
Okay.
Okay, nothing else. We'll move on to public comments. Do we have any public comments? Sorry.
Yes, I'll go. So, I must have missed the select board meeting where you approved stopping Zoom meetings for boards. And I just want to say I'm really, really disappointed in that because I feel like we're going back in time. We're only doing in-person meetings. And I hear us talking about digitizing our permits, putting in electric chargers, and why can't we have at least Zoom meetings? And you know how a lot of us feel about hybrid meetings. We want to move forward to that. And instead of moving forward, we're going back. So, what's going on?
Well, for me personally, it's just the complication of having good connectivity, and we don't have the people or the equipment to do a decent job at Zoom. And the problems that arise from people being dropped or losing their connectivity, it just becomes more problematic than helpful at that point. And it's not like we're driving 2 hours to a meeting. It's local, it's within our town borders. It should be doable for most people.
So, I've heard this argument a number of times. Have we actually had it in writing, how much it would cost to upgrade our connection and make it feasible and put in a microphone and that actually would work better in a community meeting? Have we done that?
I applied for a grant and got turned down by the state.
But have we actually costed out how much it would cost? Because I hear that as it's too expensive all the time. With 15,000 to put in 4 electric car chargers is great, but it's still 15,000. And we don't even know how much it would cost. Now, at town meeting last year, I asked if that had been considered as part of I think as part of the finance committee. Well, maybe I didn't ask that. I asked if it had been considered as part of the budget. And I was advised to write to the finance committee and ask for money to be set aside for this, which I did. And instead of anything moving forward, we go backwards. I can't see what I think we were talking about possibly asking for money from the stabilization fund, which is, I realize is going away as of today, but
It's the opioid stabilization fund that's going away.
oh, okay, I thought it was a stabilization fund, period.
No.
So, I just can't see why, I feel like there is more to it than it just costs. If we can put money aside for many, 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 many other things, I feel like this is a minor investment, although we don't even have a number.
I disagree with that. When I submitted the grant at that time, it was $25,000. That was probably about a year and a half ago. I worked with Toon Street to get an appropriate setup. In addition to the cost, and this has always been, I think, the overlying factor, is who's going to run the Zoom meeting? Who's going to run the equipment? And that has consistently, where we have seen where there have been towns that have invested, or like BRPC, you're familiar with their setup, where they have invested in this, they have a person to run it. Our IT consultant is remote. He only comes in when he has to. So who's going to do it? So there's the one thing of the hardware, and that, but the other thing is the issue of who's going to run the meetings and maintain the quality of the connection and the rest of it. People say, oh, it's no problem, I can run the Zoom meeting. Well, from what I've seen and talked with people who do make that commitment to allow Zoom meetings, it's just not that simple. Do you know what to do when Zoom bombing happens? Do you know how to make it so that there's panelists? So do you know how to make it so that people are allowed to speak only when you want them to speak? It's not so simple.
And I'm not saying it is. I am still saying I think it's worth the investment of upgrading that our ability to do that and have somebody part-time who can do it.
So, are you applying for the job?
Hold on a second. And I have to say, I do not agree that just because someone's not 20 miles away from town hall, that it's easy for them to get here. There are plenty of people, I think, who are not that mobile, who may not have multiple vehicles in the family that they can just hop in the car and get here. They might be a single parent, they might be a parent that just can't get out. But they could be part of a meeting if it was.
I think from my point of view, the other thing that I feel very strongly about is there's a lot of synergy that comes out of in-person meetings. There is the dynamics of the board. If anyone is missing, that dynamic is changed. And from my experience, which may not relate to anybody else's, I find it difficult if I am not present at a meeting, even with BRPC, which goes out of its way. It's difficult to engage. You can't see faces, you can't see body language. I mean, I think this is a fundamental difference that people have, like, seatbelts or not seatbelts or this or that. But I think part of a board is to be in person. And, if somebody's sick or desperate, we made a provision in this policy so that experts or someone who is being invited to a meeting that is not part of that board, they can Zoom in. They can Zoom in on someone's laptop. We do this all the time in the Conservation Commission because we can't afford to have our agent schlep over from Northampton. So we have tried to give some latitude for people who are not on the boards and need to address the board, and it would be an inconvenience for them to drive, come, be in person. So it's not like it's...
I agree with everything that you said about the pluses of being in person. Excuse me. But I also believe that it is our responsibility to make it as easy to be most inclusive. And I think we are going in the wrong direction.
Thank you for your opinion. Really, thank you for your opinion.
Yeah, but, I will stick with it.
Thank you. Pat?
Valerie, 269 East Main Street. I have been in multiple meetings at BRPC, and in town hall at Great Barrington. With the OWL system, with a large screen on the wall, completely run by the chair of whatever committee is meeting there. And I have never once seen a problem or experienced a problem either coming in remotely or being there in person, in my experience. I think the idea of making the assumption that most people can get here is not a sound assumption. And I think if we go back to our experience during COVID and the number of people who participated during that time being much higher than you see in meetings now, I think we're losing a lot, and I agree with Sari, it would be terrific to be able to figure out how to do this in a way that will work. May not be perfect, but
Thanks, Pat. Kathy?
Since this has come up, I agree with what's been said. And, as part of the training that we've been doing at the Housing Commission, we've been going to a number of state-run meetings. And one of the things that did come up a lot was how being able to incorporate remotely, especially doing hybrid, so that you get the benefit of both. Yes, it's not perfect because people who are participating in different ways get a different experience, but that in terms of being able to incorporate more types of people, a lot of folks that, Sari was talking about, that the diversity, equity, and inclusion piece isn't just necessarily about what your heritage is. It's also about your mobility and all these other things. And also going forward, how do we make sure that we're getting that next generation of folks coming and participating? And, these are young generations, everything is digital. So, I think that there are probably many people in the community who would be happy to help write grants to be able to try and get some of this, because you're right, we should do that, and there is going to be training and everything. But I had to go to Egremont, to do a permit for something Land Trust was doing, and they have the owl system that they use, and, they did it fine. So again, I think that is really helpful for people. I can use myself as an example, right? My dad has had some health issues that he never had before, and I used to be able to get to tons of meetings, and then that changed. But I still wanted to be able to participate, and being able to do that, remotely made it possible. And I know that especially with Sheffield having so many older residents, that those kinds of things happen. So I would urge the select board to kind of take a look at this and see what is it that other communities have done to be able to make this possible, because a lot of them do that. Tons do hybrid, all across the state. So what is it that we can do to take a look? I mean, obviously it doesn't happen immediately, so there may have to be a gap. But I would agree that it would be great to be able to take a look at how we can do this so that we stay relevant moving forward.
We'll take it under advisement. Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.